Have you heard of the blue zones? These are these little longevity pockets around the world where there are a disproportionate amount of centenarians. This work was first popularized by Buettner in his 2008 book Blue Zones, but has come to the forefront again with the new Netflix docuseries called Live to 100. Buettner's conclusion is that these 5 communities he profiles have meaning and purpose. They do moderate lifestyle-based exercise like walking and stair climbing and gardening. They eat primarily whole foods. They have strong community and social support. Really great conclusions. There's just 2 big problems. Number 1, these blue zones, with the exception of one, they're not actually blue zones. People don't actually live that long. Number 2, there's this vegan agenda throughout the blue zones suggesting that somehow the longest living people eat plants, and this is categorically false. Hey, my name is Lucas. I'm a yoga teacher. I'm a nutritional coach. I've also been a plant-based guy for 22 years, really long time. So I was always drawn to this blue zone work to see if maybe I will live to be over 100. My concern with this work is that when people discover that these blue zones are not really blue zones, I'm worried that they'll throw out Dan's amazing lifestyle intervention suggestions, throwing out the baby with the bathwater. In this video, we'll talk about why the blue zones are not really blue zones and where the real blue zones are. Number 2, we'll talk about why money correlates with longevity stronger than any other factor in society. And number 3, we'll talk about why lifespan is probably not your goal, although you can buy it. Health span is probably your goal. Unfortunately, you can't buy that. You need to earn it. Before we get started, remember to hit subscribe down below. It helps to support the channel, and you'll get notified when my videos come out every week. Okay, let's take a look at these 5 blue zones. Again, only one of which is a real blue zone. The first is Okinawa in Japan. Gotten a lot of press. Japan, as a country, has really good life expectancy, but unfortunately, Okinawa actually has the lowest in all of Japan. It used to be a longevity hotspot, but that was 40 years ago. In the early 1980s, Japan was booming, and economically there was a lot more opportunity. But if you look at Okinawa specifically today compared to the early 1980s, economic growth adjusted for inflation has really been flat, along with falling social services and medical care. That could be a cause. Who really knows? Either way, it is not a longevity hotspot. The next 3 that we'll take a look at are all very small villages in Costa Rica, small village in Sardinia, and then a small island, Ikaria, in Greece. Now, when you zoom in close, you might find 5 or 10 or 20 centenarians, and that's really interesting, but statistically, it's not really that relevant. If you zoom in myopically on lots of different areas, you might find a bunch of Olympic skiers in Andorra. You might find some climbers in Austria. You can't really draw any conclusions from these 3 small villages, and the census data, to be honest, in most of these areas is bad, and that's an understatement. Okay, so we've got one that's just not a longevity hotspot. We've got 3 small villages with some old people. That's interesting, but not so relevant. And then we've got one real blue zone, which is Loma Linda. Now, Loma Linda in Southern California has been studied for over 40 years. This is a group of Seventh-day Adventists. This is a religious group, and it's a very interesting community because it's a transplant group. So unlike the people of Sardinia, who are ethnically very similar, the people of Loma Linda are very diverse and also very unique. Compared to the rest of the U.S., there are less white people, less Caucasians, and less African Americans, and a lot more Asian Americans. So then you start to think, maybe there's something in Asian genetics, but that doesn't really pan out either. But there are some very interesting things about the Loma Linda community. They are a faith-based community, and it seems that faith-based community, or maybe we could say community in general, tracks with longevity. Possibly. Very strong correlation. They are very much health-centered, so very much discourage alcohol use and cigarette use, and that would definitely track with longevity. Meaning and purpose and faith-based organizations, all of those go together. Very likely that tracks as well, but really it's an anomaly, and it's very interesting. It's also important to note that there are about 8% self-reported vegans, which is way higher than the rest of the population, which is way under 1%. Self-reported vegetarians, around 28%, and the general population, maybe 6-7% max, and people lie about this a lot. And so, is it possible that a plant-based or a plant-forward or plant-heavy or a healthy-based diet is contributing to the longevity of the Seventh-day Adventists in Loma Linda? Very probable. I think there's a very strong case to be made. But it's not necessarily the lack of meat. It could be all of these things combined, but who knows? It's an open question and an interesting one. Here's the challenge. I'm not going to move back to California. I used to live there. I don't think I'm going back. I'm not looking to join a church or a religion right now. You probably aren't either. So here's what we'll do now. We'll zoom out and take a look at the world. Let's look at larger sample sets and let's analyze the top countries based on longevity. And let's just start with number one. It's Monaco, the teeny tiny city-state in Western Europe, where a whole bunch of wealthy Europeans live. So we were thinking maybe it was something to do with Asian country genetics, Japanese genetics. Nope, not really. We've got a bunch of Europeans who are living crazy long, like 10 years longer than their American counterparts. I wonder what's going on in Monaco. I wonder if they're eating lots of vegetarian food. Nah. I wonder if they're eating sweet potatoes. I wonder if they're walking up and down stairs or dancing or drinking wine every night. Probably plenty of wine. Really what they are is a bunch of rich people. What do rich people have access to? Well, they have access to boats and yachts and private clubs, but they also have access to top-tier medical care. And this really, really matters end of life, when there are alternative, expensive, experimental treatments for things like cancers and heart disease and neurodegenerative things. Even in-home care and compliance goes way, way up when you have money. This plays out in a lot of different examples. So when we look at Monaco, what you can see is that it's probably likely that you can buy longevity. Now, longevity doesn't mean healthy longevity. We'll unpack that. If we take a look at the rest of the countries in the top 10, almost all of them are rich. If we look at Iceland, if we look at Switzerland, if we look at Hong Kong, these are all wealthy, wealthy countries, a lot of money. The only two in the top 10 that are not very wealthy are Italy and Spain. I'm here in Spain. So these are big question marks. These are not rich countries. They're doing okay. They're moderately wealthy countries. They're developed countries. You know, there's infrastructure and pretty good healthcare and things like this. Pretty much stability in terms of political strife and things, not too much going on, but still a big question mark. But if we were to look at those top 10 and say what's the commonality, it is definitely money, it is definitely education, and it's definitely access to healthcare. The difference is not too huge, but if we were to compare Monaco's life expectancy to the average in the US, it's significant. But once we get away from the top and the bottom, the difference really for most of us is somewhere between 3 and 5 years. So it is significant, but not enough to get most people excited. This leads to my final point, which is when we look at longevity, what most people are really talking about is not lifespan in terms of their interest. They're talking about health span. If you save up a lot of money in your retirement account, it's very probable you'll be able to extend your life by months or years or who knows, maybe even a decade. But most people, the thought of being in a vegetative state, watching Netflix reruns into your older age, stuck on a couch, is not a really exciting proposition. Many people would rather trade years on the end to add in active years, able-bodied years, energetic, high cognition years, and health span. It doesn't seem to correlate with money, meaning it doesn't seem like you can buy it. It seems like you have to earn it. And to loop all the way back to the Blue Zone's message, this is the real takeaway that you should latch onto. It seems like things like community and connection and meaning and purpose and definitely fitness and some form of diet are going to be really, really important. Now, exactly how that plays out, there are still a lot of open-ended questions, and we will cover health span. I call it being a health span athlete in future videos. But my big takeaway here from the Blue Zones is if you want to live a very long time, save up a bunch of money. If you'd like to be healthy for a very long time, you need to invest starting day by day by day in your health, primarily with exercise, lifestyle interventions, and yes, food and diet, which is one of the most complicated to navigate. Hope you found this video helpful. If you'd like more yoga, science, and health videos, please hit subscribe down below. If you have experience visiting or living in any of these alleged blue zones or other blue zones, love to hear from you down in the comments section down below. You can always find my teaching calendar online. I'm at yogabody.com. I have a daily program if you'd like to train with me as well. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.